the subject of the shiur today is Aleinu Leshabeach. How many of us know, or how much we know about Aleinu Leshabeach, please God, we'll find out tonight. So, do you know where is the first time Aleinu Leshabeach been mentioned? Where is it mentioned the first time? We say it once a year. You know where? In Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. That's it. In the middle of Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, we saying Aleinu Leshabeach. Aleinu Leshabeach, it's a prayer that we say every day in the end of each davening. That means in the end of Shahrit, Mincha, and Ma'ariv, we say it, Aleinu Leshabeach. We'll see where does it come from, who made the takana, when is it happen. Then we're going to go to the contents of and the importance of Aleinu Leshabeach, and we'll see who wrote Aleinu Leshabeach. Anyone know who wrote Aleinu Leshabeach? Joshua, Yeshua bin Nun. And who else? No, Tony? Who else? No, it's only one. There is one more. So we'll speak about it. Okay, בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. Okay. So regarding the tfilat of Aleinu Leshabeach, as we mentioned, the first time that it's mentioned, and from there they took it, it's from the tfilah of Rosh Hashanah. In Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, it's mentioned. And become a takana, that means that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, after the destruction of the temple, he make a regulation that we should say it every day. Later on, it's become a regulation that we should say it 3 times a day in the end of every davening. In the end of every prayer, that in the end of Tfilat Mincha, Arvit, and Shahrit, we obligated to say it. That's Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. Okay. Now, we say that Yeshua bin Nun wrote Aleinu Leshabeach. But we have to understand, before we explain, what's happening in Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach been divided to 2 parts. Everyone understand that? Where is it divided? It starts with Aleinu Leshabeach. That's how it starts. And then it says, V'ad en od. Until we say V'ad en od, that's the first part. The second part starts, Al ken nekaveh lecha. Okay. So the first part been written, the first part of Aleinu Leshabeach been written by Yeshua bin Nun. Yeshua bin Nun wrote that blessing when he managed to conquer Yericho. What's happened? When Yeshua bin Nun and Am Yisrael enter Eretz Yisrael, they couldn't destroy the wall around Jericho. And Hazal tell us, and by the way, it brought up Rabbi Moshe ben Makir, that lived in the 16th century. He born in Jerusalem, and he lived in the 16th century. During the time of the golden era in Tzfat, he lived in Tzfat, and he was amongst the Kabbalistic that lived in Tzfat. And in his book, Seder Hayom, he wrote what's happened. And he bring that when Yeshua bin Nun into Eretz Yisrael, when he got to Jericho, they surrounded the city and the wall of Jericho every day, 1 time. And every time that they surrounded, he used to say, Aleinu Leshabeach, the first part. On the 7th day, they said 7 times, and then the entire walls of Jericho that was surrounding the city of Jericho collapsed. So from here we see the importance of Aleinu Leshabeach and the power that Aleinu Leshabeach have. Now, something else about Aleinu Leshabeach. It's mentioned the name of Yeshua bin Nun. So if we read Aleinu Leshabeach, it's been written backwards. How does it say? The first word that it starts, Aleinu leshabeach, נכון? So the first letters is Ain. Aleinu leshabeach. Then it says, Shelo asanu. It starts with Shin. Then it says, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים. Or אנחנו קוראים. Some congregations say, אנחנו משתחווים. There is a difference, we'll see. So it starts with Vav. And then it says, Hu Elokeinu. He is our God, with Hey. If you look backwards, Hoshea. Hoshua bin Nun, hint his name, wrote his name, but his first name, before Moshe Rabbeinu, added up the letters Yud. You remember that we read in a parsha last week. Okay. The second part of Aleinu leshabeach been written by Achan. Anyone heard about Achan? No. So I'll do a quick brief about it so we'll understand. Achan was Rosh HaSanhedrin. He was the head of the Sanhedrin. And he was the vice to Yoshua bin Nun. When they conquered the city of Jericho, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Yoshua bin Nun that when you manage to destroy the city of Jericho, the people, and whatever there is there, you're not allowed to take a penny from there. That means all the goods, all the belonging of Jericho must be buried, must be destroyed. We're not allowed to benefit from it. Achan, unfortunately, couldn't stand and couldn't resist what he saw. And in book of Yoshua, it said that he took some. And suddenly the plague started coming, and many of the Jewish people died. So they asked the Urim and Tumim what's happened, and they say someone took from the belonging of the city of Jericho. Until they found out that Achan, and before they stoned him to death, he made tshuva. And before he died, he wrote the second part, Al ken nekaveh lecha. Now he also written his name on this blessing. Where is it say? If we take Al ken nekaveh, it start, each letter start Al, Ain, Ken, Kaf. Nekaveh, Nun, Achan. Rashi Tevot, Achan. You follow? So let's summarize. The first part of Aleinu leshabeach been written Yoshua bin Nun. The second by Achan. Okay? Any question?
Yeah. Why, because of one person, a whole lot of Jews needs to be punished?
How many times I explained to you and you don't want to listen? You in a boat. You sitting in your cabin. You want to taste the water. You decide, that's it. I'll make a hole where? In my cabin. It's my cabin. Don't tell me what to do in my cabin. In the meantime, all the water going to penetrate. Am Israel is a one change. You break the change, you break everything. We umahat, one ring. You break it, everyone get hurt. Okay.
I don't think that collective punishment is
what you think, it's not what HaKadosh Baruch Hu thinks. So don't think so much. It's not good for you to think. Just listen. Okay. So now we're going to speak about the content and the importance of Aleinu leshabeach. In Aleinu leshabeach, we expressing and we appreciating that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us as his nation. That's the first part. That in the first part, we're showing our appreciation, okay? We're expressing it in a way that we say Aleinu, that we obligated to praise the Almighty. Not only that, if we look carefully, on the first part of Aleinu leshabeach, what are we praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu on? Did you ask yourself? That he chose us from all the other 70 nations. There is 70 nations in the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to choose who? Am Israel. The smallest in quantity, but in quality the best. Here we're showing and we're expressing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our appreciation that He chose us from all the other nations in the world and chose us to be His nation. He can choose anyone. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us and made us His nation. That's the first part. The second part of Aleinu Leshabeach, what do we say there? That we're saying that we're waiting for the time that the entire world, the entire nation in the world will understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control. Not only that the entire nation will understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He's the God of all God. That means that they have to understand and recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the content of Aleinu Leshabeach. And very briefly, we didn't go on through. Now, we say that also the importance. Due to the importance of that blessing, we're standing up. Did you take notice? It's not like any other blessing that most of it we sit. In Aleinu Leshabeach, we have to stand up because it's so important. Because it's so important. The Mishnah Brura tells us something very interesting. And listen to the importance of that. And not many people know this halacha. I'm going to share with you a few halachot. So if you don't understand, please stop me. The Mishnah Brura in Siman, that means Siman, I don't know how you say, but let's call it chapter. Chapter 65, Samechei, Se'if Katan Tet. Okay, the Mishnah Brura say that if a person come to shul and he find the congregation in the middle of Aleinu Leshabeach, but he already davened, and when he come, they didn't reach to Aleinu Leshabeach, or they reached to Aleinu Leshabeach, it doesn't make a difference. He was sitting, he was standing, it doesn't make a difference. If he was sitting, he's obligated to stand up and to say with the entire congregation, Aleinu Leshabeach. Even that he finishes davening. That means that he has to repeat again, Aleinu Leshabeach. Did you know that? How many of you knew that? That when you enter a shul, or if you enter a minyan, and you hear the congregation say Aleinu Leshabeach, even that you finish your davening, you're obligated to stand up and say again Aleinu Leshabeach. How many of you heard about Rabbi Alexander Ziskin? No one heard about it. Okay. Rabbi Alexander Ziskin, born in Belarus of today 277 years ago, he wrote a book, Yesod v'Shoresh HaAvodah. That means Yesod. Yesod is the foundation. Shoresh is the source. Yesod v'Shoresh HaAvodah. Avodah, it means how to worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And listen what he say about Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. He said that when a person saying Aleinu Leshabeach, he's obligated, Rabotai, Hayav, obligation, there is an obligation to say Aleinu Leshabeach besimcha rabah, with a lot of happiness. Not just besimcha, besimcha rabah. Why? Did you ask yourself why? That we're thanking, number one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we being chosen to be His nation. We'll see how important still, we didn't reach to a half of how important this tefillah.
I have a question. Sorry.
Can we leave it to the last? No, עכשיו אתה מפריע לשיעור, אחרי זה. Also, in the Mishnah Brura, in Siman Kuf Lamed Bet, chapter 132, Sa'if Katan Het. Listen what the Mishnah Brura say. He said that when we sing Aleinu Leshabeach, we should say it with full kavana and with the fear of heaven. Full kavana and a fear of heaven. Why? Do you ask yourself why? The Mishnah Brura explained. Remember, 132, Sa'if Katan Het. The Mishnah Brura say like this. Because Kol Tzva Shamayim, the entire army of the heaven, that means HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and entire angels that there is in heaven, listening to us saying Aleinu Leshabeach. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu quoting the entire army in the heaven and said to his angel, listen to my children praising me. Not only that, so okay, that we have to say in Kavana. But why with the fear of heaven? You know why? Because when we saying Aleinu Leshabeach, you know what the angel in heaven say? Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo. Ashrei ha'am she'Hashem Elokav. Everyone understand what I say? No, I'll explain. Ashrei ha'am, praise the nation, that the Almighty, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's our God. That when we say Aleinu Leshabeach, that's what the angels say. Now we understand how important is Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. How many of us think that Aleinu Leshabeach is just to finish, to conclude the tefillah? And quite often, tefillin is off, tzitzit is off, he's walking and he's saying Aleinu Leshabeach. Or if he make you a favor, when he walk outside, he say Aleinu Leshabeach while he's starting the car. Rabbi Yaakov Koli. Rabbi Yaakov Koli wrote Midrash Me'am Lo'ez. Rabbi Yaakov Koli, born in Jerusalem 327 years ago. Then he moved to Turkey, to the city of Izmir. And that's where he wrote Me'am Lo'ez, the famous Midrash. And he said it, that Amirat Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach, Sgula Lehatzlaha. What it means, Sgula, a remedy. If you want a remedy for succession, to succeed, for anything, for prosperity, health, listen what he said, that when you say Aleinu Leshabeach, say it with kavana, with happiness, like we mentioned, and if you want to have guarantee that it will work, say it like usually we say it, front and backwards, if you can. Not many people can say it backwards. And then he give you a guarantee that it's a remedy for whatever you ask, you'll get. Ari HaKadosh. Ari HaKadosh that lived also during the 16th century in Tzfat, and with Rabbi Moshe ben Makir, and that time. And he said, Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach, in the power of that tefillah. Rabotai, listen to it carefully. Lehorid et hashefa me'ashamayim, to bring down the prosperity up from heaven. And he warned, listen what it says, והזהיר, שלא להוריד תפילין וציצית רק לאחר שגמר לומר תפילת עלינו לשבח. That means Ari HaKadosh say that in the merit of saying עלינו לשבח properly, you can bring the prosperity from heaven. We'll get to it. But he said that he warned not to take your tefillin and you tzitzit until you finish to say Aleinu Leshabeach. What it means to bring prosperity? Everyone thinks just about guilt. No. It's everything in life that you want. How many of us want health? How many of you want peace and harmony? That's all in the merit of Tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. Now, what does it mean when Ari HaKadosh say, Bekoach, in the merit? He said, when you say it with full kavana, Rabotai, what's stopping the prosperity coming down? Did you ask yourself? The sins that we do. When we do, Haz v'shalom, when we sinning, we creating a layer that the prosperity can't come. If a person do too many sins, he build a lot of masachin, what we call it, many stream, and the prosperity can't come down. But in the merit of Aleinu Leshabeach, when we praise the Almighty with full kavana, we can open all of those doors or screen that we put between us and the Almighty, and the prosperity can come down. That's Ari HaKadosh.
Where's your fortune?
Huh?
Prosperity or fortune?
Everything. Everything that you want. Rabbi Ephraim Mibond. How many of you heard about Rabbi Ephraim Mibond? Rabbi Ephraim Mibond was amongst the Rishonim. He lived in the city of Bonn in Germany 884 years ago. Listen what he said about Filat Aleinu Leshabeach. He said like this. He said at the time of the Crusades. By the way, he wrote Sefer HaSchira. Sefer HaSchira is the book of memory. And he says in his book, he writes in his book, that the Jews of France, that when the Crusades took the Jewish people and hanged them or killed them, they used to sanctify the name of the Almighty. You know how? By saying Aleinu Leshabeach. Before they used to hang them, or whatever torch that they done to them, when they torched them, or when they killed them, how did they sanctify the name of the Almighty? Aleinu Leshabeach La'adon HaKol. People dying, that's the Jews of France. And he wrote in his book 884 years ago. Rabbi Ephraim Mibond. Bonn is the city, everyone know. Bonn is a city in Germany. There is, I don't know how many of you know about the old Sidurim. Everyone understand what I'm referring to, the old Sidurim? The older version of the Sidurim, not the new edition, the old edition of the Sidurim. There is a mission regarding the tefillah of Aleinu Leshabeach. What is it said? There is certain old Sidurim that the word inside, there is inside Aleinu Leshabeach, there is one thing that we say, Shehem Ishtahavim Lahevel Varik. What does it mean? That for they bow for vanity and emptiness. Today in all the Sidurim it is being printed, I'm sure. Nachon? If you look at Aleinu Leshabeach, you'll see it. But in an old edition of the Sidurim, you'll see that it's been censored. Why has it been censored? You know why? That it used to embarrass the Christianity. That the Christian used to be so embarrassed that they forced us to censor those letters, those words.
That's why they put it in brackets or what?
Shehem ishtahavim lahevel varik. That they bow down for vanity and emptiness. Why is it? Because the word rik, emptiness. If you take the gematria of it, varik, 316. Okay? The name of Yemach Shemo Vezichro, 316. You understand that? Why they used to censor those words from Aleinu Leshabeach? Because in that time, they used to have a lot of power, and they forced us not to print it. So they used to censor it, and people used to say it off by heart. That's why they put it in bracket, like Gershon mentioned. There's another custom. I don't know how many of you daven with the Chabad. Spencer, you daven with them? No? Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So when you daven with Chabad, when they reach to that word, Lahevel Varik, when they mention Varik, you'll see them turning to the side. You know what they do? They do usually like this. They spit on the floor. Menachem, you look confused. If you daven with Chabad, and the Rebbe also used to do it, the Rebbe of Chabad, I read about it, because I saw it, and it's well known. Nachon, Spencer? When they mention the word Varik, you'll see them doing, and they're spitting on the floor. The Rebbe used to, until nothing left, used to clean it. Even at shul today, you'll see some of them turning to the side. When they mention the word varik, they're spitting on the floor. That's the minhag regarding varik. So now that we spoke a little bit, I really summarize as much as I can to summarize regarding tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. Now we understand the importance and the holiness that tfilat Aleinu Leshabeach. That means every day, when we say Aleinu Leshabeach, we say it 3 times a day in Shaharit, Mincha, and Arvit, Rabotai. We have to understand that we have to say it word by word. Not only word by word, we have to say it with happiness, with a kavana of a holiness. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we say it with kavana and holiness, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remove all of those masachim that disturbing to bring us the prosperity down to earth, to each one of us. And if we manage to do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please God, will send Mashiach tzidkenu b'mera b'yamenu, amen, ken yeh ratzon. This question, yes. Rega, אחד, yeah, you jump. Brian, it was first. Rega.
The question is, often myself, I'm sure there's other people, when you're trying to say Aleinu, you don't finish Aleinu and they're already saying Kaddish.
Very good question.
So what are you actually supposed to do? Some people
Very
say do
good.
the half and then say the other half
Very
later,
good.
or do you
Very
stop in
good
the middle?
question.
Do you answer to the Kaddish? What do you do?
Very good. Brian asked very simple question that many of us have this problem. Nachon? Let's be honest. Sometimes you find that the Shliach Tzibur is too fast for us. So if you know, Brian, that you're not going to finish the entire brocha, that means the 2 parts of Aleinu Leshabeach, you can finish the first part, stop there, listen to the Kaddish, answer all the Kaddish, because it's in the middle, you can't stop. Answer the Amenim and Amen Yeh Shemei Rabbah, finish that, and then continue the second part. Al ken nekaveh lecha. Rather do it properly with full kavana and skipping words. Because you didn't fulfill the mitzvah of saying it. And then what you done? All the holiness and the happiness that you should say it, you didn't say it. And then that's when become the curtain between us and the prosperity. You follow?
You can stop in the half.
Stop, answer the Kaddish, and then continue. Who want to ask else? Wait, Gershon. No, Gershon.
יש לי 2 שאלות. שאלה ראשונה, לא קשה, פשוט. איפה הפסוק הזה של אשרם שככה לא?
באשרו יושבי ביתך. השאלה השנייה?
עוד יותר קלה. בעלינו לשבח. בן אדם גמר את התפילה שלו, אתה רואה, הרבה אנשים גומרים את התפילה שלהם, אני בטוח הם אומרים עלינו לשבח, בשמחה רבה, כי הם יודעים הם הולכים אחרי.
נו.
הקהל עדיין לא הגיע לעלינו לשבח.
אז למה אתה אומר עלינו לשבח? אתה צריך להתפלל עם מניין. מה זה מניין? מה הרעיון של מניין? ביחד. תקשיב, שאלת, לא? רגע, שאלת, אתה עונה? אתה שואל או שאתה מקשיב? תקשיב. מה העניין של מניין? מה שאתה מפסיד, הם ממלאים. מה שהם מפסידים, אתה עוזר להם, והתפילה עולה ביחד. That's mean. Wait. To speak to Mr. Gershon, you have to speak in Hebrew, because he doesn't understand English. So to understand English, you have to give him a pola in Hebrew. What I said to him, what's the idea of a minyan? That when one davening with the minyan, if someone missed something in the davening, the other part, the entire other congregate, davening together, make it one full tefillah that go up to heaven. When you don't daven in a minyan, it doesn't have this power to lift up the tefillah up to heaven. Follow.
Whoever done it and whenever I did that, I didn't yotze by saying...
I didn't say that. That's I didn't say. You wanted to ask? That's what I mentioned earlier, yeah. Joe, you wanted to ask?
Yes. You say, to answer the Kaddish, to answer the Kaddish.
Yes.
But what if you are saying Kaddish yourself? You're saying Kaddish.
No.
And you're halfway.
You stop. Joe. נכון, you stop. So בסוף, וחביקי. You know, in Hebrew we say, וחביקי, וחביקי, in Hebrew, not in Yiddish, not in African. You need to say Kaddish. You have a Kaddish to say. You know that they're going to say before you. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start Aleinu Leshabeach. Say the Kaddish properly. Finish the Kaddish. And then say Aleinu Leshabeach with full kavana. Yeah. Any other question? Who wanted to ask? No. We're going to say Kaddish, Rabotai, in memory of אליעזר בן צבי הכהן ולעילוי נשמת אליס בת ויולט. אליס ויולט בת רוזינה.